But now what we about to look at in depth. Now we about to look at it in depth. Alright, 100 details. Alright, bet.
This is 100 plus details you might have missed from GTA 6 Trailer 2. First, unlike Trailer 1, Rockstar actually provided some context for the story, which says, Jason and Lucia have always known the deck is stacked against them, but when an easy score goes wrong, they find themselves on the darkest side of the sunniest place in America, in the middle of a criminal conspiracy stretching across the state of Leonida, forced to rely on each other more than ever if they want to make it out alive. So we know that they are partners, clearly. They've had a score that's gone wrong, and they are now stuck in the middle of some sort of criminal conspiracy. And so with that, we now have the context to start with the trailer. This first shot takes place in the Leonida Keys, which is a real-life hotspot for drug trafficking.
How does this dude know all of this?
Which we will get into later. Here is where we get our first look at Jason's personal vehicle, or Jason's truck. And also, a new animal, an iguana, can be seen going underneath his porch. Here we meet Brian. Judging from the fact that the Florida Keys is a hotspot for
Brian, a classic drug runner from the golden age of smuggling in the Keys, still moving product through his boat with his through his boatyard with his third wife Lori. Brian's been around long enough to let others do his dirty
drug
work.
trafficking.
Okay.
Like I said, this matches with Jason's story, as he is living on a property of Brian's rent-free, which is implied when Brian says,
seriously, dude, you got some time on your hands. I got some properties with paying tenants.
Which most likely means that Jason is helping Brian with his work in exchange for staying at that property. Brian was once again also shown in some of the artwork that Rockstar released, so undoubtedly he will be a big part of the story. A large container ship moving in the background can be seen, and also Jason's first line in the trailer is,
I'm just fixing some leaks.
Which could be a really funny reference to the September 2022 leaks, and there is some more evidence for this. In the next scene, a raccoon can be found going through a garbage bin in the background. And this
hella detail, bro. That's why this is why they was taking 13 years, bro, for shit like this. Raccoons coming out of fucking trash cans, iguanas running around.
Almost identical to one of the leaked clips. A 1950s car can be seen in rough condition on Jason's property and even has dirt piled on top of it from sitting so long. And this could be something to do with the Wyman's car parts that were found in the leaks as well. In this scene, Jason says,
see you, Brian. Love you, Jason.
Implying that they have more of a relationship than just someone he's working for. Maybe his dad, we don't really know. Also, I'm just gonna mention this once now, but the ray tracing scene in this trailer is unbelievable, and there are countless examples of how good it is. The windows on Jason's car are rolled down and set to 2 different lengths. The lady can be seen holding her dog, and on top of this, her car has paw prints
How does he peep
on the hood, which, just like the cars we saw in Trailer 1, imply that there will be a lot more personalization for vehicles.
Damn.
Plus, her house in the background seems to have a modeled interior, which could be Rockstar's new interior AI patent, which allows for interiors to be generated instead of just flat images like we have in GTA 5. This is our first good look at Jason in this trailer, and obviously from Trailer 1, he has gone through a lot of changes.
Right, look at the difference. Yeah, bro, this is why it got delayed to 2026. Cause look, imagine this in a year from now.
Especially with the hair and the scruffier beard, but my theory is that this is actually later in the story than when we first saw him in Trailer 1. When busting open the register, the coins in the tray realistically slide with the movement of the till. There's also a hookah that can be seen used in the store as well, and the phone number on the register starts with 305, which matches up with the area code for Miami. You can see some workers trimming the grass on the side of the road for extra immersion, and one of the trucks has a hitch accessory, again adding to more vehicle customization. The license plate on this truck looks very similar to one you'd find in Florida, however the truck in front of us is very weird. We know from the screenshots that Rockstar released that this says Discover Gloriana as it's shown on other license plates, meaning that Georgia has also been added to the game. Also, Peacock Bay is a new named location that we had no prior knowledge about. This part at the beach looks insane. I mean, the sand has some insane detail. The girl walking by kicks up sand as she walks. Also, the dude is wearing AirPods, or I guess in this game they'd technically be called fruit pods, so maybe you can listen to music wherever and headphones might become a thing. The beer in the bottle simulates light exactly how it would in the real world. There's a cat cleaning itself on top of the ATM, and overall, this seems to be an average convenience store like we would find in GTA 5, but obviously the detail has been taken to a whole new level.
Right.
There's also a very funny ad for something called Vapomint, which means that there won't only be smoking, but also vaping will be making an appearance. In GTA 5, NPCs would normally just be killed by cops on the spot, but in this scene they are actually doing an arrest, which indicates more lively world events. Accurate contrails from the plane above, and here we finally learn the full name of our two protagonists, Lucia Caminos and Jason Duval. The cop can be seen moving certain objects around dynamically, and the sound of it moving is accurately distorted by the microphone the guard is using.
Duval.
I seen you here before.
You might have.
Also, how long do you think it'll be before someone counts the amount of holes in this window? When getting out of prison, Lucia is now wearing the ankle monitor that could be seen in the original promotional art released with Trailer 1, which is more noticeable in this scene later. Also, Sexy Time Part 1. This line of her saying, "Hands above your head, now!" makes me 100% confident that this actor is Manny L. Perez, not that there was much debate anyway. The monitors in the bank have gone into lockdown, presumably because of the monitors in the bank have gone into lockdown, presumably because of the robbery. Don't take this the wrong way, it's in the game, but the beer is called Pendejo, which is most likely the GTA version of Modelo. Ducks can be seen in the water now as well, which confirms them from the leaks, and also the amount of boats seen in this one area proves that the ocean will have a ton of
I thought it was just a regular
interesting
water.
events going on instead of just on land like most games before. Here we can clearly see the drug trafficking we talked about earlier, as they are loading what is most likely drugs into a Dodo plane. Once again, this is taking place at Brian's Boatwork and Marina, which indicates that it's the same Brian we met at the beginning of the trailer, and even Lucia can be shown doing community service while wearing a Brian's company hat.
Yo, how does he peep this? Bro,
And he will play a big role in this game. Jason and Lucia have a pet snake, so whether or not we can have more pets is still yet to be seen. This is the first time we meet Cal Hampton, Jason's friend and business associate. He could be the equivalent of GTA 5's Lester, as his description has him feeling safest at home while snooping on various radio comms. Okay, now, first of all, goddamn. And second of all, this is the same dress that Lucia was wearing in the car scene during Trailer 1, which most likely makes them a part of the same sequence. This nightclub that they're in is the same nightclub that was being promoted by the plane in one of the intro shots of Trailer 1. Also, the NPC density is unlike anything we've seen in a Rockstar game before. They are quite literally everywhere. People are seen pressing Jason about being a Fed, which could give some reasoning to the theory of Jason being a cop. And there could even be more evidence of this later in the trailer. When we see them trying to escape the apartment, Lucia is wearing the exact same outfit she was wearing when they robbed the gas station at the end of Trailer 1, which means that this is most likely the same apartment as the trust scene.
They got your name, address, they got everything.
Now, assuming they are talking about the cops when Brian says this as they show up in the next scene, this would then disprove the Jason is a cop theory somewhat, but there's still something more I have to bring up. There is a theory that this is Raul Bautista, who, for all intents and purposes, is our Michael from GTA 5.
Wait, who?
Bautista, who, for all intents and purposes, is our Michael from GTA 5, a seasoned bank robber. However, judging from the small amount of screenshots and info we have about him, it doesn't really look like the same person. So with that, I'm gonna leave the debate to you guys. But in the scene where he says,
"Us cops, we gotta protect each other."
in GTA 5, there was no scene where we heard Steve or Dave, for example, talking where the protagonist wasn't with them. which, following that standard, would mean that this could potentially be Jason standing off to the side. Here we get a first look at the drive-by mechanics and see that Jason is leaning his entire body out of the car, which is a mechanic that was confirmed in the leaks as well. We can see a working metro at the top of this scene, and this is also our first look at Bay Lux, who is a part of the Real Dimes influencer group, who is basically a rapper and just a social media star. This shot takes place in Port Gellhorn, which is also where the final shot of the first trailer takes place. Jason can be seen tossing a dude into a car, which implies better combat, but there's also probably more going on here since a car has exploded in the background. Here we can also see Lucia's combat ability, and undoubtedly Lucia is going to be a fighter. On the Rockstar website, it even says that Lucia's father taught her to fight as soon as she could walk.
Wow.
In fact, on the website, it says that fighting for her family was what landed her in the Leonida Penitentiary, and sheer luck got her out, which calls back to the beginning of trailer 1 when she says,
"Bad luck, I guess."
Jason calls Lucia Lou, followed by "we got this," and then Lucia replying saying "we got it," implies once again, like trailer 1, that trust is going to be extremely important in this story. This explosion is worlds above anything I've seen in games before. Also, notice how the lighter—
I cannot wait. Yo, this is like, it's giving me like GTA 5 with Watch Dogs kind of. I don't know. It's just giving me that vibe, bro.
SUV is blown away from the explosion, while the riot van is only nudged by the shockwave, which indicates varying weight with cars. Lucia's hair can be seen blowing around from the explosion, and also the grenade launcher is appearing once again. We can see Draquan showing Jason a video on his phone, which may imply that we can take videos with our phone as well. Fighting in the wheel compartment of an airliner confirms that vehicles other than cars will have detailed interiors as well. And judging from how far away the buildings are, we aren't nearly enough for these to be clouds, which means that dense fog will be a new weather effect in GTA 6. Here we have a clear Fast and Furious 5 reference with a safe being dragged around by a car. And it's hard to notice.
That Jason dude, he looked like the Fast and Furious guy. I forgot his name. But the one that passed away.
But the oncoming car stops in anticipation for the reckless driving of the pickup. We got Sexy Time Part 3, and here we aren't sure who this is yet, but taking a video with his phone hopefully proves what I thought from the earlier scene. This is Vice City Boulevard, which we saw in trailer 1, but this time from a different angle. You can see a ton of new cars, and again, more crazy customization with the rims on the Benefactor. And as a nice touch, the Bravado Banshee is once again making a return. Needless to say, the night scene is going to be insane in this game. Now this is a cool fact. The president on the bills thrown around in the club have the presidents from RDR2 on them. Now it's hard to miss, but obviously there's a PS5 controller on the table and what looks like a PS5, which is hilarious product placement from Sony since they have the marketing rights to GTA 6. Ammunition is making a return, except now it's called Phil's Ammunition, and there will probably be different names for each store.
I can't wait to like just go into that store, and then like, you know how in GTA 5, like where you could just go in there and just shoot them up. Bow, bow, bow. I can't wait to shoot Phil in his head.
Most likely Jason and Lucia's safe house that takes place in the Gator Keys, as you can see the bridge in the background. And the level of detail of this game is immense. I mean, you can see the foam level on the beer. And not only that, but the beer can be seen bubbling inside of the bottle. The operating light on the controller behind the beer bottle is being distorted by the liquid in the beer. The couch cushions compress as Lucia's weight is added to them, and also the tiles by the door are now pulled up, which wasn't present when Jason walked into the house at the beginning of the trailer, which implies that this takes place later in the story. The Buzzard attack chopper is making a return, but this time it has unique weapons on the side, and it looks like Brian is manning one of the guns. In fact, this scene and even the next look very similar to ones we saw in trailer 1. You have the airboat going through the Everglades, and in the next scene, it looks like the Dad Bod Squad from trailer 1. Also, just to the right of the boat, you have the airboat going through the Everglades, and in the next scene,
That's the dad
it
bod
looks
guy.
like the dad bod squad from trailer 1. Also, just to the right of the boat, you can see the extremely tall tower that we saw in the first frame of trailer 1. This scene could be in-game footage, as the light just isn't quite as strong as some other scenes in the trailer. But another small note is that Jason ducks his head very slightly as the plane passes overhead. Here we can see what looks like an in-game version of the Corvette C8 that drives by Jason, and I'm only assuming it's Jason because the same bike he jumps off of is the one he was driving in the previous shot. Every building in this shot has what appears to be modeled interiors, but again, this could just be the interior AI. However, it is important to note that the Megamundo building seems to have way more detail on the interiors compared to the...
I'm telling you, bro, every building better be walking. Like, I could walk into any building. I could go into somebody's house while they taking a shit and just shoot them in their shit.
Building beside it, meaning this is most likely an enterable building. Sexy time part 4, but also this room looks identical to the room that they were in during trailer 1 when they were talking about trust. Shooting from inside the boat isn't new from GTA 5, however, the detail of the bullets hitting the helicopter is a lot more realistic. Bullet impacts now create an atmospheric effect when hitting the road. You can see an NPC about to hop onto the window of the car to fire a rifle, which means that that mechanic isn't limited to just us players. And as well, Mariana County, Vice-Dale County, and Draper Island are again all new named locations we didn't know about yet. Jason can be seen jumping from vehicle to vehicle, which is basically just an upgraded version of what we had in RDR2. And here,
wasn't that the same thing where, freaking Jimmy, when we had to get him from the yacht?
Can also be seen just an upgraded version of what we can be seen jumping again, all new named locations we didn't know about yet. Jason can be seen jumping from vehicle to vehicle, which is basically just an upgraded version of what we had in RDR2. And here, Cal can also be seen wearing a Brian's Marina shirt, which implies all the characters are connected. Also, there is a boat being worked on in the background, which implies boat customization as well. Jason's muscle car makes another appearance like it did in trailer 1, however this time one of the doors is a different color. Now obviously there is a ton of other new info we learned from all of the screenshots and info that Rockstar posted on their website today, which I left a link in the description if you want to look at it. So I'll be releasing another video soon compiling all of that.
I'm gonna go look at that. W Jetro in the chat, man. Jetro. Let me go to that. I never been on this. I will accept all cookies. I need to look at this. Oh no, I already saw that. Not playing. The way we move. Oh my, okay. That shit looks smooth. Y'all see that? Wow. Wow, this is tough. Wow. Okay, Jason. Wow. It looks so, like, tough. Shit looks so tough. Oh my god, Jason. You're so tough, man. Damn. This is... Oh look, what if this is like the switch character thing? So like, look, right, and then boom, now I'm Lucia. Yeah, this is tough. Woo, you go, girl. She's so sexy. Look at her, sexy eye. Yes, love you. Well, all right, chat. That's gonna wrap it up for this video, man. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned for more reactions like this, man. I'm out, and see y'all boys.